Shalom and welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a good weekend, a good Shabbos. In this week's Torah portion, we find the very sad, disturbing story of the golden calf, of how the Jewish people, or at least some of them, rebelled against God, rebelled against Moshe, and built this golden calf when they thought that Moshe was not coming down from the mountain when he went up to receive the Torah. And after it happened, God said, I've had it. That's it. I'm going to erase these people. I'm going to eradicate these people, the Jewish people, and I'm going to rebuild them from Moshe. Moses will be the beginning of the Jewish people. What a statement. Moshe, though, answered God and said, God, if you eradicate these people, then you should erase me from your book. I don't want any part of your book. And in fact, in last week's Torah portion of Parsha Tetzaveh, Moshe's name was not mentioned even once in the Parsha because of that. It is known that Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, had two loves, two great loves in his life. The love for the Torah, which he received, and the love of the Jewish people. But when it came down to it, who did he love more? He loved the Jewish people even more than the Torah. And he was willing to put himself on the line for the Jewish people, even more than the Torah. And that's such an important lesson for us to learn as well. Certainly, when we see people who are not following the ways of the Torah, it can be very disturbing to us and very sad to us, even if they are sometimes our own children who decide to leave the path of Torah Judaism. It can be very sad. But the temptation is to say Torah is more important than my own children. How can we say something like that? How can we say that Torah is more important than another Jew, even our own children? How can we say that? Moshe didn't say that. He said, my children are more important even than the Torah. And therefore, we need to show our children and other Jews who are not so observant even greater love than we would if they were Torah observant, because they are crying out for love and they are crying out for affection. And this is a very important lesson. If Moshe could do it, we could do it as well, because the love that God has for us is greater even than the love he has for the Torah. That's a thought that we should think about as we proceed in these days coming up before Purim, where we celebrate the great joy of the victory of the Jewish people against the Persian Empire, when the Jewish people were really leaving the path of Torah altogether. And they were celebrating with the wicked King Achashverosh, and the Jewish people were deciding that they didn't want to be so observant. And we see that God hid his name, hid himself from the Jewish people. That's why the name Esther comes from the word Haster, Aster, as Panai, I will certainly hide my face. God was so sad that the Jewish people were becoming so assimilated, so far away from Torah, that he even hid his face from the Jewish people. But ultimately, at the end, God came back to the Jewish people and brought them back to Torah, because God loves the Jewish people so much. And we should learn from God and from Moshe to love another Jew as much as they did. Shalom and have a good week.